Sunday, April 26, 2020. This is All About Joe Benjamins and your weekly mixtape and weekend review video. It's hard to believe that it's the 26th of April. I felt like March was the slowest month ever, obviously, for many, many reasons. And this month has just kind of flown by. I can't believe that May is going to be here pretty soon. So hopefully this speed up continues to go and we get closer to going back to a little bit of normalcy. We see some states getting ready to open back up or plans to open back up. And hopefully we do things the right way and not cause any more harm. Having a relapse of all of this, we'll have to wait and see how things go. But let's get to the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and portfolio. Just a few of them today. Real quick update on what's going on in the U.S. related to the coronavirus. As of the Wall Street Journal article that I shared, the death toll in the U.S. had topped 50,000. We'll probably continue to see those numbers rise, but just getting a real quick look at how things are there. I mentioned in the quick intro that states are going to be planning to reopen, and we'll have to see how that goes. I think Georgia may have already started. And what we're seeing is with these plans to reopen and discussions, we're seeing a lot of the businesses deciding to wait a little bit longer and exercise a little bit more caution. So some businesses will be reopening, others will be taking their time. We'll see how that all plays out. And what that does for small businesses and just life in general. So we'll see how all that goes. Next up, unemployment numbers. The numbers are pretty staggering right now. This past week, we had another 4 million people file for unemployment. So that takes us to 26 million people filing for unemployment right now. And as the CNBC article that shows underneath that basically takes all of the jobs that we gained coming out of the great financial crisis and has wiped them all out. And we've done that just in a few months. So pretty remarkable, and not in a good way, but a remarkable thing that we've just witnessed when it comes to employment. Hopefully a lot of those jobs will come back once we get back to normalcy. Businesses open back up, people get hired back up. On the unemployment number, people who are furloughed, who have a guaranteed job, are included in those numbers as well. So there are a lot of people that I personally know that have been furloughed, will have a job, looking forward to getting back to that job, but in the meantime have decided to file for unemployment, which as their financial advisor, I would have recommended they do as well. So those numbers are pretty big. That's the thing that really weighs on me. I think that the virus will run its course. We're doing the right things. We're seeing the curves flattening. I personally believe the reason we're seeing it flattening is because of the measures that we've taken, not because we overreacted. But we'll never know. That's going to be a debate that will always go on. If this goes the way we hope that it does, we see the numbers flatten out, we see us get better, fall doesn't have a big relapse, one side's going to say things were overreacted, we didn't have to do that, see, it didn't get very bad. And the other side is going to say, see, they didn't get very bad because we sheltered in place and we shut things down for a little while. So this will probably be a debate that'll go side versus side, and no one will ever admit who's right or wrong. And we may never know. We just hope that we get through this. So unemployment is going to be something to continue to watch. That's going to be the thing that we'll have to see. How quickly will we bounce back? Unemployment is going to be a good tale for that. You've got to believe, and I've got to believe, that there's a lot of pent-up demand. So when we can get out, people are going to start getting back out. But we'll just see how quickly that is. Paycheck protection program. So the program that was under the CARES Act for small businesses ran out of money within a few days. There's a new bill that was just passed, an addition that was passed of $310 billion. $60 billion goes to the EIDL program. The remaining $250 goes to the PPP plan. So that is the Paycheck Protection Plan, which is designed to give small businesses 2 months plus rent. So basically they take 2.5 times your payroll is what a small business can apply to keep people on payroll. And if they keep people on payroll, then that loan will be forgiven. If not, it's a very low interest rate. I think it's 1%. So there's more money in those funds that will be available beginning Monday. So small businesses will be again applying for those loans to help them get through. And if they keep people on payroll, then it'll be forgivable at the end of the term. So that's a good thing. Hopefully this time we see that the money gets to small businesses, mom and pops. We found out that a lot of larger organizations were able to get it as well. The rules are the rules, so we can't complain about them doing it. It's just that there are a lot of small businesses that really could use those funds that didn't get them. So hopefully there's more measures in there. It sounds like they've done some more things to make sure it gets to more mom and pops stores, if you will, to help out the small business owners. Oil. Interesting week in oil. You may have heard that oil went negative this week. So the article is in here. It's a pretty good read, and there's a real good graph that shows you basically what happened is oil trades in what's a future market. So contracts are negotiated in advance, and when May rolls around, the contracts that were in May actually were negative $32 as of the close on Monday. And that basically just means that in those contracts in May, those people who were coming to pick it up would have been paid. So there's physical delivery of oil. If I'm going to buy oil from you in a futures contract, the day comes where I'm going to take physical delivery of that. Now, not to get too deep in the weeds, there are people who trade futures contracts and never actually take delivery of oil. They just want to have exposure to that. But nonetheless, because of the pent-up supply, because no one's using it, no one's driving, no one's flying, there's a lot of supply of oil and really nowhere to put it. So it costs more money to store, it costs more money to get rid of it, and that's why we saw that dip down negative. Now, if you look at it June and further out, those contracts are all still positive. They're still very low, but it does not mean that you're going to be able to go to the gas station and get paid to get gas. But it is something we've never seen before, and something that was kind of unique. So when you hear that oil went below zero, it traded negative, it was the May futures contract. So June and beyond are still all positive, but it is definitely something to pay attention to, and just, if anything, remember that that happened. And the final piece in here is just about credit cards. There's another blog post in here from Josh Brown, talks about his concern. And this Wall Street Journal article came out a few days after he put it on his blog, that we're seeing credit card payments go into delinquency and become late. And it makes sense, and as Josh explains, if you have to pay your mortgage or you pay a credit card bill, you let the credit card bill go. So the credit card companies are bracing for late payments, no payments, and dealing with that. The credit cards will be another good metric of how is the consumer doing. If we see those get back on track, people are paying those again, then that is a good thing. Consumer sentiment came out and it was low, surprising. No, not surprising for April. We would expect that with everything going on, people aren't feeling too great about the future. So that ties into the credit card bills. And one thing I want to loop back to, kind of all over the place this morning, but just these random thoughts popping in. Sometimes you get that from me. Sometimes I'm more organized. Sometimes the thoughts come in. Going back to oil, there is a ETF out there. I'm not going to put the ticker out there because I don't want to encourage anybody to purchase it. But it is a ETF that is advertised to follow the price of oil, and it does not follow it perfectly. And that fund was pretty close to blowing up with everything going on with the oil market. And I bring that up only because you may see an opportunity with what's going on today, a certain area of the market. Maybe you want to take advantage of airlines being down a lot, or maybe it was oil you wanted to play a part of. Just make sure that if you go out and buy one of these specialized ETFs, you fully understand how they work, what they invest in, and don't just buy them because of the name or because of the ticker symbol, the letters that you represent it by, because it can end up causing a lot of problems. We saw that with the VIX, which is the volatility. There's funds that trade on that. You really know what you're trying to invest in and understand how it can work, and more importantly, how can it blow up? Even if the likelihood of it blowing up is not very high, understand, especially with something like an oil fund, how that could happen. All right, that's it for today. I'm going to let you guys get going to your weekend. Thanks for tuning in. As always, be sure to check the blog over on All About Your Benjamins. Some great blog posts in there, and a phenomenal tweet that I shared of a father and son going through some basic economic and finance lessons. It's great. So make sure you check those blog posts out. Make sure you check that tweet. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And we will see you all next week for the next episode. Have a great one.